Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
The second full-time host of The Tonight Show, Jack Paar. In a long time before he even came to the forefront to be the host of The Tonight Show, the summer series for the Jack Benny Show, in the summer of 1947. This, I believe, the next to the last episode of the series. This is from August 17th, 1947.
From Hollywood, the Jack Paar program with Trudy Irwin, Jerry Fielding in the orchestra, yours truly, High Averback, and starring America's new young humorist, Jack Paar, with a special guest tonight, Jack Benny.
Thank you very much. This is Jack Paar. Hello, and a special note to the F.E. Boone Fan Club in Lexington, Kentucky. Don't be impatient. F.E. will be back in 11 minutes. Well, Hollywood is all excited because Margaret Truman is giving a concert here next week. They say her father taught her to sing the scale like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, vito. Another interesting item from Hollywood this week is that a famous actress is going to remarry her first husband. It must be his turn again. Another actor got confused this week and he proposed to his own wife. This confused her so much that she accepted him. Now they have to get a divorce so they can go through it.
Jack, aren't you going to say anything about Great Britain placing a 75% tax on American films?
Yes, I've been worrying about that. So I've invited to the studio today a typical British moviegoer who's in this country on a special mission. He's been brought here to breathe on C. Aubrey Smith's monocle. His is the only breath containing Windex. Good evening, sir. Your name?
J. Arthur Faversham III. My father, you see, was J. Arthur Faversham II.
Mm-hmm. Who, may I ask, was J. Arthur Faversham I?
My mother. She passed away several months ago. It was the Prime Minister's fault.
The Prime Minister's fault?
Yes, you see, he was addressing the Empire on the wireless, and when he concluded, he said, "Chin up, everybody." That was fatal to Mother.
But why?
She was under the sink at the time.
I'm terribly sorry.
No matter, the drain is open again.
I do admire the way you British carry on. Tell me, will you miss American pictures?
Well, I don't care much for your pictures, but dash it all, I hope you continue to send that Lend-Lease popcorn.
If things are so difficult over there in England, why don't you all move to California?
Egad, we have the very same idea. In fact, before I left home, the Prime Minister was putting a giant propeller on one end of England. We're pulling up anchor.
But what if you can't squeeze the island through the Panama Canal?
Heavens to Bevan, sir, we'll force it through.
In that case, there will always be a long, thin England.
Little-known people who mean absolutely nothing.
Friends, the world is full of little-known people. Perhaps you haven't given it much thought. Do you realize how little-known some people are? For instance, there's the man who reads the gas meters of the man who reads the gas meters. Another little known is George, the third Smith brother, who was later cut off without a drop. Another anonymous little man is Rudolph R. Rudolph, who hopped around the world in 734 days. No plane, he just hopped. Tonight we have with us someone of this type, a girl, or I should say a lady tree surgeon, Mrs. John W. Grommel. It is Mrs. Grommel, isn't it?
Yes, but I just got a divorce.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't...
My husband tried to get something on me. He hired a private eye.
Well, I think we...
I shot it out.
That's all very interesting, Mrs. Grommel, but we'd like to hear about your career as a tree surgeon. How did you happen to take up that work?
Well, I kind of inherited it. My first husband was a tree surgeon. He got killed by a falling patient.
That was unfortunate, wasn't it?
Well, that's nothing. My second husband was killed by a falling tree. My third husband was killed by a falling tree, and so was my fourth husband. But my fifth husband died natural. He died in bed.
He did?
Yes, a tree fell on him.
A bad case of lumber in his slumber, huh? Tell me, Mrs. Grommel, I suppose being a tree surgeon requires a large amount of education.
Oh, yes. After leaving grammar school.
Go on.
That's all. Of course, we have 2 weeks of pre-med, then 1 week of med. Oh, I'll never forget the day I graduated a full-fledged tree surgeon. My, I was proud when the dean handed me my diploma and a pair of bloomers.
Did your training as a tree surgeon end then?
Oh, no, I interned at Redwood. You know, but I sometimes wonder if it's worth it. I'm just worn out today. I was up all night delivering an avocado.
Oh, boy or girl?
Did you ever see an avocado?
Mrs. Grommel, you've done wonderful things with trees. I understand you were the first one to put bath mats under weeping willows.
Well, thank you. But the case that I'm most famous for in my own little-known way is the case that I like to call the case of the giant redwood.
Up in Sequoia National Forest, huh?
Yes. You've seen the enormous tree with the highway running right through the middle of the tree?
Yes, I think we all have. Did you perform an operation on that tree?
Yes, a very delicate operation. I had to use 14 pounds of Jergens lotion. It was a removal operation.
You used 14 pounds of Jergens lotion?
Yes, I had to soften up 2 Buicks.
This has certainly been an interesting discussion, Mrs. Grommel. You must come back next summer. Is there some place we can contact you?
Oh, yes, I'm doing a local job now, a plastic surgery over in Griffith Park.
Plastic surgery on a tree?
Oh, yes, on lots of trees. I'm removing the penknife marks. You know, almost every tree in Griffith Park has a heart with an arrow through it, and Joe loves Mabel, or Joe loves Gertrude, or Joe loves Imogene, or Joe loves Mary, Joe loves Ruthie, Joe loves Toots, Joe... Well, anyway, I expect to be in Griffith Park for a long time, for months and months.
You mean the work will take that long?
No, I just met Joe.
Thank you, and good night.
August 17th, 1947, Jack Paar on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medishare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it. Find out why they rave about the customer service, and Find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of the Jack Paar Show, August 17th, 1947.
Friends, as you know, I am a summer replacement. The summer replacement is a fellow who broadcasts during the hot weather to give the other actors time to count the money they've made all winter. Frankly, I'm a little worried because my brief summer career is coming to an end. Radio's getting ready for the winter again. Edgar Bergen is repainting Charlie McCarthy. Fibber McGee is waxing Harlow Wilcox. And Phil Harris has switched to antifreeze with an olive.
Well, look, I'm not trying to worry you, Jack, but let's consider who's going to replace us. You know, we've done good shows. We're not failures. How can you be a failure? You're only 29.
We won't be failures for another 10 years yet. But that's radio. The summer's running out and our leaves are getting brown. Think how I feel. I thought I was a success. I have everything a young man wants. Fame, fortune, suede shoes.
But, Jack...
Let it go. Be optimistic, you know.
Jack, who's going to replace us? Lum and Abner have had their chance.
It's cruel, I know, but there's one good sign. Amateur hours are coming back. Fresh new talent will arise. Tonight we're going to give 3 young hopefuls a chance. The winner will be our winter replacement. Who knows? We may discover a new Phil Baker.
Oh, that's just grand. Well, Jack, here is our first discovery. Step this way, miss.
Good evening, miss. Your name is Griselda Furpo. Are you here to audition for our winter replacement?
Would I be here if this was in a sanctum?
Well, come to think of it, that veil does look a little like a cobweb. I presume you've had some experience in show business.
Certainly. I was with a USO troop in Japan.
Japan? How long were you there?
Until the Americans arrived. It just so happens I'm a singing midget.
Aren't you a little tall for a midget?
I'm standing on my sister.
Well, if you don't mind, you're not very attractive.
I don't mind. My sister's on top this week.
What are you going to do for us tonight?
Well, if my sister Tangerine will jump down and go to the piano, I'll sing. Hey, Tangerine, jump already. Arpeggio, please. Heartache, heartache. My love and you meant only heartache. Your kiss was such a sacred thing to me. I can't believe it's just a burning memory. Heartache, heartache. Why does it matter how my heart breaks? I should be happy with someone new. But my heart aches for you, a ricky-ticky. My heart aches for you.
Thank you, Furpo sisters. Stand by until the end of the program when the audience applause will decide the winner. Our second contestant in our talent search is a man here wearing the long black coat with a bird cage in his hand. Good evening, sir. What is your name?
Bonsoir, mon ami. My name is Monsieur Roudet-Lapé, the magician.
You're French, aren't you?
Les enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. English translation, oui.
Well, we're glad to have you here in America. Incidentally, is it true what they say about those French bathing suits? I mean, what are they like?
Oh, they are very simple. You just take 2 handkerchiefs and throw one away.
I see, but you said you were a magician.
Oh, but I do card tricks with mice.
Maybe I was listening wrong. Did you say you do card tricks with mice?
Yes. Here, pick him out.
Pick a mouse. No, Rudy. You can't do that on the radio. Look, don't you do any of the conventional magician's tricks, like maybe sawing a woman in half?
Oh, but, monsieur, I shall never saw a woman in half again. I was never so humiliated. I was on the stage of the Orpheum Theater, you see.
You mean something went wrong with the trick?
Oh, yes. I don't know how it happened, but I was sawing this woman in half when all of a sudden I heard... bloop, 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 bloop.
Poor Simone.
But I have a trick for which I'm famous. Look, I take $50 from your nose. See?
Gee, I wish I'd known that this morning. I needed some change. Now, what else do you do?
Surprising as it may seem, I'm also a great hypnotist.
That's fine for the radio. Hypnotism.
Oh, yes. Look, I do it to you. Abba-dabba, sleep. Abba-dabba, sleep. Abba-dabba, sleep.
Gee, it really works.
It does?
Yeah, my abba-dabba's asleep. Thank you, monsieur. Please stand by for the decision of the audience. Now, here's our last contestant in our talent hunt for a winter replacement. Your name, sir?
Benny, Jack Benny.
No favoritism, please. Now, Mr. Benny, have you ever had any experience on the radio before?
Why, yes. In fact, I worked out on the radio up until 12 weeks ago.
Oh, and what have you been doing for the past 12 weeks?
Collecting unemployment insurance.
Tell me, Mr. Benny, these days of inflated prices, they worry me. Isn't it rather difficult to live on $20?
Yes, it's become almost impossible for me to save more than $12 a week. I had to close up the left wing of our house. Unfortunately, Mary's mother was in it at the time.
Mr. Benny, what can you do?
Well, here's my business card.
Do you mind if I unfold it?
Please do.
All right. Jack Benny, comedian and violin virtuoso. Violin selections provided for private parties and weddings, formerly with Phil Spitali. Mr. Benny, were you really with Phil Spitali?
Yes, until my voice changed. That was about 6 years ago. I finally left the orchestra with spite work or something. That Evelyn and her magic violin. She just held hers. I had to play mine. But, Mr. Parr, you haven't finished reading my card yet.
Oh, yes. Can provide violin music for junior proms, birthday parties, taffy pulls, banquets, and anniversaries.
Oh, turn it over. There's more on the other side.
Oh, yes. Also, I'm being considered to accompany Margaret Truman at the Hollywood Bowl.
It's a cinch, if she sings Love and Bloom.
Now, Mr. Benny, you said you were on the radio. Were you a contestant?
No, I was an entertainer. You see, many years ago, I started my career as a comedian in vaudeville. I knew I was a comedian because all my clothes were made that way.
And from vaudeville, you went into radio.
Yes, and I'll never forget those early days of broadcasting. Mr. Parr, maybe you heard one of my first shows.
I probably did. Which one were you, Mert or Marge?
No, Mr. Parr.
He's that living.
I was the original Jack Armstrong, the all-American boy.
When you were a boy, we didn't have all of America.
Wait till you hear my next line. We did too.
Mr. Benny, you mentioned a few minutes ago that up until the last 12 weeks you were working on the radio. What type of show did you do?
Well, if you've ever heard me on the air, you'd realize I'm one of the funniest men in radio. And to prove it, I brought over a script of one of my shows. I was just great.
All right, Mr. Benny, you read your part, and I'll read the other roles.
Oh, there are no other roles in this. I just typed up the part I did on the show. Now listen. Thank you, Don. Well, hello, Mary. Phil, you've got to do something about that band. Sing, Dennis. Rochester, answer the door. Yay! Well, what do you know? It's Ronnie and Benita. But we're a little late, so good night, folks.
And Mr. Benny, that is the mirth-quaking humor you did on the radio.
Yes, sir.
Well, maybe you'd better play the violin for us.
Just a second till I get it. 1 second. All right, let's go.
Mr. Benny, that's quite an expensive-looking violin you have there, huh?
It is, but I'm even prouder of the bow. You see, most bows are made of horsehair. This one comes from Lassie.
August 17th, 1947, the Jack Paar Show on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion follows these words.
Whether you're taking your pets on the road or a walk around the block, you need to be aware of heat stroke. Hi, I am Dr. Jose Arce, immediate past president of the American Veterinary Medical Association. It's important that pets get out and enjoy the warm weather and fresh air, but here are some reminders to help keep your pets safe in the heat. Tune into the day's forecast to see how hot it will be. Limit exercise on hot days or schedule walks earlier or later on the day when it's cooler. If outside, stay on the grass instead of the hot pavement. Make sure your pet has unlimited fresh water and access to shade. Never leave your pet in a closed vehicle, and leave your pet at home in air conditioning when you go out. If you see signs of heat strokes in your pet, such as excessive panting, drooling, unsteadiness, or abnormal gum and tongue color, call your veterinarian or nearest emergency clinic. For more info on summer pet safety, visit avma.org. That's avma.org.
Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station. The conclusion of the Jack Paar Show, the summer replacement for the Jack Benny Show. And what an amazing coincidence. Just before Jack's supposed to come back, he's a guest on the Jack Paar Show. August 17th, 1947.
I thought it was an awfully short bow. Now, suppose you start.
Oh, just a minute. I want to rosin my bow here.
Oh, by all means do. Why be half safe?
I'm ready. Now, I brought my own, I try to talk in so you wouldn't get such a big laugh. I brought my own piano accompanist, Jose. Give me A, will you? That's close enough. Intermezzo, please. If you don't do that fast, you're dead. You know? Twice Patali let me go and kept Evelyn. I'll never know. And now for a faster number.
That's enough, Mr. Benny. Mr. Benny, you can stop now. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute! Something wrong? Yes, Mr. Benny, I don't feel you're quite ready yet.
But, Mr. Parr, you haven't given me a fair chance.
I'm sorry, Mr. Benny, but you're wasting my time.
Look, kid, your time is my time.
Mr. Benny, stand by for the decision of the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard our three contestants. Now, as I put my hand over each contestant's head, the studio audience will applaud, indicating their favorites. First, I have my hand over the Furpo sisters. Now I have my hand over Rudy LaPay, the magician.
Abadab, abadab, abadab.
And finally, we have the violinist, Jack Benny.
Are you sure your hand is over my head?
Yes.
You're positive your hand is over my head?
Certainly, I have it right over your...
Uh-oh. What's the matter?
It's under your toupee.
Well, what do you know?
Tune in next week to the Jack Paar Show with Trudy Irwin, the outstanding Paige Cavanaugh Trio, Jerry Fielding in the orchestra, yours truly, High Averback, and Jack Paar.
Oh, Mr. Benny.
Yes?
We just took a secret ballot, and you've been elected to be our winter replacement.
Well, I knew it all along.
But, Jack, I'm a little worried. You're not going to play your violin or tell jokes, are you?
Oh, no, I've got something brand new up my sleeve. It's never been done before.
What is it?
Here, pick a mouse.
Good night, everybody. From August 17th, 1947, Jack Paar on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, time for the wind-up, part 5 of the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Crystal Lake Matter, from August 17th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Ansel Garrett, Johnny. I'm calling from a gas station up near the 3-mile grade, 10 miles north of the lake.
Trouble?
Plenty. Johnny, seems like when you go looking for people, it always turns out to be bad luck. For them.
What do you mean?
You came up here to Crystal Lake looking for Edward Russell. He turned up dead. Now you've been looking for Hiram, the taxi driver.
Don't tell me.
I'm afraid so. We just fished his body out of a ravine.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Amalgamated Life Associates, Home Office, Hartford, Connecticut. Following is a final accounting of expenses and report of my investigation of the Crystal Lake matter. Item 9, $1. Tip to the garage man to get my car out in a hurry. I drove up to the 3-mile grade. Deputy Sheriff Ansel Garrett was waiting for me beside the highway and led the way down the ravine.
Watch the footing, Johnny. It's pretty tricky.
Yeah. Who discovered Hiram's body?
One of my boys patrolling the highway. He spotted a glint of metal down here in the moonlight. Yeah, here we are.
Yeah. Oh, brother. Taxi cab and all, huh?
what a wreck.
Yeah, he crashed the guardrail and came down the slope.
I doubt if it was an accident, Ants.
When a guy's got a bullet hole in his forehead, it's no accident, Johnny.
Looks like the same person who killed Russell killed Hiram to shut his mouth.
I guess that's about the size of it.
Hiram's murder opens up another keg of nails, Ants.
How so?
Well, Betty's story is that the last she saw of Russell the night he was murdered was when he drove away in Hiram's taxi. But that story depended on Hiram for confirmation. You'll never be able to confirm it now.
Well, earlier tonight you were beat because you were fresh out of suspects, Johnny. Now you got a real live one again.
Maybe, but trying to find a motive to fit Betty Norton is a blind alley. The only one who could benefit financially from Russell's death is his wife, Leona, and she was in Denver at the time. I still think Russell's murder ties in with the fact that he came up here looking for somebody named Bill, and apparently had it in for him.
Could be. Trouble is, Johnny, we got too many guys by that name at Crystal Lake. Bill Cullen, the hotel bartender, Bill Jensen at the boathouse.
Both of them are still possibilities, Ants. The bartender had a fight with Russell on the night of the murder, and it was one of Bill Jensen's padlocks on the cabin where the body was found.
Yeah, it's true enough.
Whoever killed Russell and hid his body in Bixby's vacant cabin didn't know that Bixby was planning on selling the place and would bring somebody up to show it and discover the body.
Sounds real convincing, Johnny. Now all you have to do is figure out somebody's name for the whoever and a good motive, and you're all set.
Oh, yeah, sure. Real simple. You know, one thing that's been bothering me from the start, though. Why did the killer plant Russell's body in a cabin? With all the wide open spaces around here, why a cabin?
Yeah, he could have figured dogs or animals would uncover the body if it was outside somewhere.
How about the lake?
Bodies have a way of coming to the surface.
Yeah, I guess you're right. If we could only have gotten to Hiram before this... You happen to know where he lived?
No, a little rooming house not far from the hotel.
You through here?
No, not yet, Johnny. I got a couple of my boys beating the bush around here.
Okay, I'll head back to town and see if I can turn up anything of interest at Hiram's rooming house. On the way back to the village, I stopped at Betty Norton's Lakeshore mansion, but she wasn't at home. Her housekeeper told me she'd gone to Denver for a couple of days. On hearing that, my interest in her as a suspect shot up again. Expense account item 10, $1.45, long-distance call to the Denver police, requesting them to try to locate Betty Norton for further questioning. Then I went to the rooming house where Hiram had lived. I couldn't find anything in his room that would give me a lead on his killer. But as I was coming out, I found someone in the hall who might.
Huh?
Well, Bill the bartender.
Oh, hello, Dolly.
What are you doing here?
It's real simple. I live here.
Oh? Same rooming house as Hiram, huh?
That's right. Now, look, don't go trying to tie me into his murder. We was friends.
I didn't know the news of his killing was out. How did you know he was dead, Bill?
Well, I just talked to one of Vance Garrett's boys at the hotel. He told me.
Oh, I see.
No, you don't see, Dolly. You still think...
Look, whoever killed Hiram is the same one who killed Russell. You had a fight with Russell on the night of his death.
Yeah, well, I explained that to you before. He was looking for somebody named Bill. He thought I was the one, got tough about it. But that's all there was to it. I didn't kill him. I didn't kill Hiram. You'll never prove that I did.
Yeah, going round and round on the merry-go-round. Somewhere along the line, I must have missed something. But I didn't know what. I decided to go back and start from the beginning. In this case, Bixby's cabin, where Russell's body was discovered. I found Bixby in the hotel bar.
Hi, Dollar. Care for a drink?
No thanks, Bixby.
Well, I got a little good news earlier this evening. Sheriff Garrett told me he was through chucking over my cabin so I can get it cleaned up and repainted now.
You gonna advertise it again?
Yeah, I'm not too optimistic about my chances of selling it, though. Even though the location of it's been kept out of the papers, everybody at Crystal Lake here knows about it. You never found out who put that new padlock on the door, huh?
Oh, the lock came from Jensen's boathouse, but we haven't been able to tie in Bill Jensen with any of the rest of it. Look, Bixby, you mind if I take another look around your cabin?
Not at all, Dolly. You want me to go with you?
No, that won't be necessary.
Okay. Here's the key. Help yourself.
It was my last chance. Maybe there was something in the cabin that neither Ansel Garrett nor I had noticed before. Something, anything that would give me a lead. I spent an hour going through it inch by inch, and I drew a great big blank. Everything was in place. Nothing had been touched. Even my cigarette butt on the front porch and Bixby's cigar wrapper twisted in a knot where we'd sat and talked after he'd reenacted the discovery of Russell's body. Inside, only marks on the floor where Ansel Garrett's boys had measured the distance of the body from the door, stuff like that. But as far as anything that would give me a fresh lead, there was nothing. Nothing at all. I was licked and I knew it.
Oh, Mr. Dollar.
Good evening, Mrs. Russell. I just dropped in to say goodbye.
Well, that was very thoughtful of you. Please come in.
Thanks. When are you leaving?
I'm checking out in the morning.
What are your plans?
I'm not sure, Mr. Dollar. I'll probably get rid of the house in Denver and take an apartment for a while. After that, I don't know.
Have you filed your claim yet on your husband's insurance policy?
No, not yet. My lawyer will take care of it for me. I'd rather not have any more to do with things like that personally than I can help. Mr. Dollar, have you gotten anywhere with your investigation? Have you found anyone at all who could have had a reason to kill my husband?
To tell you the truth, Mrs. Russell, up to now I've got no... Then I saw it. Something in Leona Russell's room. Just a little thing. But all of a sudden the whole deal slid neatly into place. But I had to be sure. Somehow I had to start the ball rolling and see what happened.
You were saying, Mr. Dollar?
Oh, yeah. I was saying that up to now I haven't been able to get any... what time is it?
Well, 9:45.
Oh, I gotta make a phone call. Mind if I use your phone?
Well, no, not at all.
I was supposed to call Deputy Sheriff Garrett to check on a new lead. And if it's panned out, looks like we're in.
Deputy Sheriff Garrett.
Johnny Dollar, Ants, how's that new lead look?
Huh? What new lead?
Yeah? Good.
Hey, what are you... Oh, maybe putting on an act for somebody, Johnny?
That's right. Well, looks like we're on the right track at last. You can't beat a lab test. Thanks, Ants.
Something new has developed, Mr. Dollar?
Yeah. Looks like we're finally closing in on the right man, Mrs. Russell. I gotta run now. Got a date with the sheriff. But I'll keep you posted. I went outside her hotel cottage and waited. I could hear her on the phone. In a moment, she came out, started along the trail near the lakeshore. I followed. I was sure I was finally getting close to Russell's killer. But then a gun barrel on my back told me I'd gotten a little too close.
Hold it, Dollar.
Well, Mr. Bixby.
Surprised?
As a matter of fact, no.
Bill? Is that you, Bill? Dollar.
Hello, Leona.
Leona, you stupid little... Falling for a gag like Dollar just pulled on you.
But I had to talk to you, to warn you.
Looks like you're a little stupid, too, Bixby.
Huh?
I just spotted one of them in Leona's cottage.
I told you I should never have come to your cottage, Leona. You insisted.
I had to see...
That's what threw me about you, Bixby. Clarence Bixby, but a middle name of William, huh?
Wilfred. If it'll do you any good now.
It was you and Leona right from the start. Her husband found out about it, but all he had to go on was the name Bill. Somehow he got a lead that brought him up here to Crystal Lake.
Of course, I arranged for him to get the lead.
Yeah. You wanted to be easy to find. You had Hiram, the taxi driver, decoy Russell to you, then killed Hiram to shut his mouth.
Bill, get rid of him.
Then you killed Russell in your own cabin and left his body.
I had to. The people in the next cabin moved in that night. I was afraid they'd see me if I moved the body.
So you played it smart. You stole a padlock from Bill Jensen to throw suspicion on him. Then you advertised your cabin and discovered the body when a prospect wanted to see the place. A pretty neat cover, Bixby. You had a lot of nerve.
I still have, Dollar. Enough to do what has to be done now.
And sweet little Leona Russell, the poor, grieving wife. In it with you right from the start.
Hurry up and do it, Bill. Then you and I can get...
Oh, no, that's where you're wrong, Leona. It's not going to be you and I anymore.
Bill, you can't say that.
You engineered the whole deal right from the start, and I'm sick of it. I'm getting out.
You can't get out, Bill. You hear me? You can't. You're in this as deep as I am, and you...
Yes. I can get out all right, Leona. I know one good way. Oh, yes, I've used it before, and it works. Here's for you, baby.
Bill, no! Bill!
He swung the gun toward her. I dove at him, but too late.
Oh, Bill!
I hit him twice in the face and he went down. I bent over Leona, but she was gone. She must have been dead when she hit the ground. 11 11th and final item on expense account, $145.20. Transportation and incidentals from Crystal Lake home. Total expenses, $423 even. Remarks about Bixby. In jail awaiting trial on 3 counts of murder. Edward Russell, Hiram, Leona Russell. About Leona, who'd engineered the whole deal for a payoff. Well, she got paid off all right. End of remarks, end of report. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Now, here's our star to tell you about next week's story.
Next week, beginning on Friday night, because I'm sure you'll want to listen to the Republican convention Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week, a simple string of beads, and each bead on it, a motive for murder. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Robert Reif, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Heard in this week's cast were Dick Crenna, Charlotte Lawrence, Gene Tatum, Howard McNear, Forrest Lewis, and Herb Ellis. Musical supervision by Amerigo Marino. Remember, next week's story will start on Friday night because of the Republican convention on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So join us Friday, a week from tonight, same time and station, for another exciting story of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
Yep, the big networks took time off to cover the conventions wall to wall. So that means it'll be a little delay in bringing you our next year's truly Johnny Dollar story. August 17th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Please thank this station, support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. If you miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. All of our shows are available on demand at classicradio.stream. There you can also stream our shows, learn more about classic radio collecting. You can contact me. You can find our social media links. You can find download links to all of our shows. And you can also buy me a copy if you like what we do here. That money does not go toward coffee, nor toward Dr. Pepper, nor toward scotch. No, it goes directly toward helping us find new classic radio theater programs. That's at classicradio.stream. Classicradio.stream. Thank you so much for tuning in, and tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.